Good evening, and gratitude to Drug Control Officers Welfare Association for inviting me here this afternoon. And I'm going to speak something about life balance, mind balance, stress balance. As I say that stress is like salt in the food. If there is too much of salt, people keep speaking only about the salt. And if there is less salt, also people speak about salt. So the amount of stress in life should be like salt in the food, not too much, not too little. So when I was in IIT Mumbai, I was in the last year and one of my friends tried to commit suicide. It was very surprising because he was a very excellent student, always coming in top. So when we approached him and asked him, why did you try to commit suicide? He said, because every exam I would get the gold medal. In this exam, I got silver medal. I could not handle it. So in the same exam, 4 or 5 of my other friends failed in 3-4 subjects. Same exam. They failed in 3-4 subjects, but they were moving around the campus peacefully, blissfully, as if nothing happened. Giving blessings to others. Relax. So I asked them, अरे तुम लोग तो बड़े बेशरम हो, 4-4 सब्जेक्ट में फेल हो गए, आराम से कैंपस घूम रहे हो, आपकी फिलॉसफी क्या है लाइफ की? बोले हमारी फिलॉसफी सिंपल है, कॉलेज में घुसना अपना काम है, निकालना कॉलेज का काम है. तो that is the time I realized कि भाई, the MBA schools are teaching us how to get that position, but they are not teaching us how we will react if somebody else gets that position. I have been at ICUs where people got heart attack, and when I asked them, भाई heart attack क्यों हो गया? बोले यार ये promotion मेरे को मिलना था, लेकिन मेरे जूनियर को promotion मिल गया जिसको मैंने recruit किया था. वो मेरा बॉस बन गया. अभी MBA के कोर्स करिकुलम में इसके ऊपर कोई चर्चा नहीं है. How we get affected emotionally by circumstances and situations, but the emotions are playing a major part in our entire 24 hours. And there is no discussion happening. 2020 suicide statistics, 1,54,000, 2021 1,65,000, 2022 1,76,000. In helpless condition, people are becoming hopeless. And that is the big challenge we are dealing with in today, ladies and gentlemen. India, which was the economic superpower in the whole world, from 180 to 1080, India's GDP contribution was 36%. By 1500, the GDP contribution of India came to almost 27%. By 1900, it came down to only 1%, which means for 1700 years, we were the economic superpower in the whole world. But more important than being the economic superpower, India was always balanced sociologically, socially. The happiness index was very high. And therefore, dear friends, all of us need to understand that we are living in a world where people have a lot of technology in their lives, a lot of gadgets in their hands, a lot of resources, a lot of choices, and a lot of anxieties. So stress, as per Bhagavad Gita, is defined as the gap between expectation and reality, expectation and reality, expectation and reality. All of us have an expectation, all of us face with a reality. That gap between expectation and reality is called stress. And now in social media age, people are focusing less on what they are and what they can do, and spending most of the time looking at what others are doing. So we get distracted by what others are doing. Yes, comparison to some extent is good, but comparing, complaining, criticizing are the 3 cancers of the mind. All of you are in drugs and medicine, so you know cancer. It grows. But what about cancer of the mind? greed, pride, lust, envy, anger, illusion, depression, anxiety. These are all cancers of the mind. It is eating human society inside out. This is the last generation we are seeing of some normal society in India. Most of us will not be there to see the major abnormal India which is manifesting in a very short time. The kind of society we have not seen or not even imagined. Because when you import Facebook from America, Google from America, Netflix from America, Instagram from America, you will also get 44% children born outside of marriage from America. You will also get 88% divorce rate like in Luxembourg, 65% divorce rate like in Spain, 55% divorce rate like in France, 51% divorce rate like in Russia, 46% divorce rate like in America, and 44% global divorce rate. India still has the lowest divorce rate in the world at only 1%. But people are not so much concerned about investing in family and family values and family relationships. Everybody is only interested in one thing: money making. Make more money, make more money, make more money. Money is sweeter than honey. And when day and night we are only meditating on this, you'll have to pay a tax. Because the masala dosa in the restaurant is tasty, pizza is tasty, samosa is tasty, but at the end you have to pay the bill. So like that, you say, okay, everybody is making money in the family, every member is engaged, every member is doing this, that. You have to pay the bill for that. Because the children will grow in one direction and society will grow in another direction. And we can already see that, and nobody has a clue what to do with it. And they feel the solution is to keep them busy by giving smartphone. So therefore, one of my friends, when I was giving a talk in a college in America, one American student walked up to me and started speaking to me in Hindi. I looked at him and said, "Hey, you're looking American? You speaking Hindi?" He said, "Yes, I'm American. I'm born in California. My father was a multi-millionaire, gave me everything to enjoy in life. Big house, tennis courts, golf course, swimming pools. When I was 17 years old, I told my dad, 'Dad, you gave everything in life except the experience of a family.' Because when I was 2 years old, you were divorced. I grew up alone. Now, at the age of 17, I want to experience what is family." Father said, "Baba, I am too old to give you experience of family. There is one country where you can get experience of family, that is Bharat. Go to Bharat." He took the flight, came to Varanasi, and went to one of the houses which said, "Paying guest allowed." And then he went there and asked, knocked on the door, they opened, they said, "What do you want?" He said, "I want to be paying guest." He said, "Why?" "I want to experience what is parivar, what is family, what are the exchanges between family members. When family members sit and eat food together, exchange things." They said, "Are you sure you want to experience that?" "Yes, I want to experience, because I got everything which money can buy, but family happiness is not something money can buy. I have come to experience that here in Bharat." And then he said, "If you allow me to stay in your family only for 2 years as a paying guest, keval 2 saal rehna chahta hu, only 2 years as a paying guest, I will pay you monthly rent of 1 lakh rupees. That family said, "Why 2 years? Stay whole life." And they said, "If you have other friends also who want to experience family, हम एक आध कमरा और खोल देंगे." We didn't know there is such an opportunity here. In India, everybody thinks out of the box. So they never thought that this is a market segment. So dear friends, many things we take for granted. Many things we take for granted. Because who is rich? Rich is that person who has as many things which money cannot buy. That is what is the definition of a real rich person. So therefore, when we speak about stress, we should know that in a highly competitive, social media driven, internet enabled, technology powered business world, it's very, very difficult to remain sane when you are on the conveyor belt. And therefore, we need spiritual discipline, we need social discipline, we need family support. Everything has to play a very important role and part. Then only we can continue in our life in a balanced manner in the long run. So therefore, as I said, each one of us have a skill which is unique. And that's why you are being hired, and that's what you are contributing through your company. But then when you keep looking at others, okay, to some extent you get some inspiration, but if you do not have your own standards well defined of who you are, you will simply be carried away by what others are doing and lose your own identity. And therefore, dear friends, in a social media driven age, one of the biggest causes of stress and anxiety is comparison. Comparison is a thief of joy. And therefore, you have a certain talent, you have a certain power, you have a certain skill. You have to be confident about that and remain fixed on that. And don't use shortcuts just to imitate somebody else. Because what works for the other person will not work for you. And it will only create more stress for you. Because that is natural for the other person, it may not be natural for me. Nowadays, everybody wants to be public speaker. So there was somebody who was a coach, and he said, "Aapko public speaker bana denge. Mera classes join karo." So 500 people signed up, and this guy stood and said, "The first principle in public speaking is the opening of the speech has to be dramatic. Starting speech का ऐसा होना चाहिए, audience हिल जाना मांगता है." अरे बाप रे, क्या होगा ये? And then he said, "I'll give you an example. कैसे start करने का speech?" And he said, "Begin the speech with something controversial, like, 'The best years of my life were spent in the arms of a woman who was not my wife.'" And everybody said, "अरे बाप रे, क्या बोल रहा है ये?" And then he said, "That woman was my mother." अरे वाह 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 वाह. So in that audience there was one guy who was from a village. He went to his village and declared to the whole village, "I have become public speaker. सब आ जाओ मेरा लेक्चर सुनने." तो गांव में ज्यादा कुछ काम वाम था नहीं, तो 300-400 लोग इकट्ठा हो गए. He stood on the mic. He was nervous. First time he is speaking in public. He thought, "I will use the same formula. Controversial beginning." And he stood up and he said, "The best years of my life were spent in the arms of a woman who was not my wife." And then he became nervous. He could not remember the next line. He was trying his best. अरे क्या था वो punchline क्या था, punchline क्या था? And then finally he said, "And I can't remember who she was." अरे भाई, आप जो कर सकते हो वो करो. यहां वहां दूसरों का देख देख के इंस्पायर होना एक बात है, इमिटेट करने से काम नहीं चलेगा. So don't get trapped in the imitation spiral, which is a big cause of stress. One of my friends went to a conference. Somebody gave him a business card. नाम लिखा था, नाम के नीचे एजुकेशन क्वालिफिकेशन लिखा था. क्या था? PhD BF. बोले यार ये क्या है? बोले PhD बट फेल। ये कैसे हो गया? बोले क्या करे, पिताजी चाहते थे मैं PhD बनूं। क्यों? मेरे 2 कजिन PhD थे। बोले तुम नहीं बनेगा, इज्जत हमारी कम हो जाएगी। So then after 2 years I realized I can't be PhD, dropped out, made this card, to be honest, added BF also. But most people think BF is a degree beyond PhD. So therefore, in a city like Mumbai, there is a hotel president. Right outside hotel president, one thela wala put a samosa stall. हाथ गाड़ी, समोसा स्टॉल लगा दिया, उसका नाम दे दिया होटल वाइस प्रेसिडेंट. And he said, if you can't afford the president, come to vice president. So therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining very clearly to Arjuna, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama apayino anityastantidikshasva bharata. My dear Arjuna, just like summer and winter seasons come and go, like that, happiness and distress will come and go. Learn to tolerate. My dear Arjuna, know that we have limited control over our circumstances. And when circumstances are difficult, we become helpless. But just because we become helpless doesn't mean we should become hopeless. And therefore today, in modern day, when people become helpless, they go to the psychiatrist and take the pill. Whereas in ancient Bharat, the model was, when you become helpless, you go to the ancient wisdom and change your perspective. So the ancient versus modern difference is pill versus perspective. दृष्टिकोण, अपने दृष्टिकोण को बदलो. 60-story skyscraper building is standing in front of me. If I stand at the ground floor of the 60-story skyscraper and look up, it looks like impossible to cross this skyscraper. Some problems in life suddenly manifest just like the 60-story skyscraper. और लगता है ये बला कभी टलेगी क्या? इतनी बड़ी समस्या, इतनी बड़ी आपत्ति अचानक आ गई. इसका आरंभ कहां, अंत कहां, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. It is so huge, so sudden. All of us will go through problems and situations and circumstances which make us helpless, like standing in front of the skyscraper and seeing the size. That is the size and dimension and the giganticness of the problem sometimes. But if you sit in an airplane and go 50,000 feet above the ground, and from there you look at that same 60-story skyscraper, कैसा दिखता है वो? Looks like a matchbox. Has the skyscraper dimension changed? No. Skyscraper size of 60-story remains same. But what has changed? Your perspective. Therefore, dear friends, I have come here, stand in front of you to share with you that drugs may be manufactured, discovered in any part of the world. Penicillin was discovered in America or Europe or wherever. But now all over the world people are using it. Because drugs are required to make our life disease-free and pain-free. कहीं पर भी वो प्रकट हो, लेकिन पूरे समाज को उसकी आवश्यकता है. वैसे ही भगवत गीता का ज्ञान भले कुरुक्षेत्र में जन्म लिया, लेकिन पूरे विश्व को उसकी आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि इससे दृष्टिकोण बदलता है. Swami Prabhupada was in London, and as he was standing there, one reporter asked him, Swamiji, why you have come to London? Prabhupada said, last 300 years, Britishers have come and looted from India gold, silver, emerald, rubies. but they forgot to steal the most valuable jewel, Bhagavad Gita. Uska home delivery करने आया हूँ लंदन. बम्बे के लोकल ट्रेन में एक सज्जन को मैं भगवत गीता दिखाया और दिखाकर मैंने कहा, गीता लेंगे क्या? वो कहता, गीता फ्री में है क्या? मैंने कहा, नहीं सर, 70 रुपए की है. वो कहता, कृष्ण ने अर्जुन को गीता फ्री में सुनाई, तुम 70 रुपए क्यों लेते हो? मैंने कहा, सर, कृष्ण ने अर्जुन को गीता कुरुक्षेत्र में सुनाई, ये बंबई है, 70 रुपए ट्रांसपोर्ट चार्ज है. So, today ISKCON has distributed 55 crore Bhagavad Gitas all over the world in 80 languages. And why people are buying? Because the Gita is helping them adjust, change, and deal with new perspectives when problems arise. And those perspectives are helping them cope with the situations with hope. How to cope with your problem with hope? That's the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. That you will never become hopeless. And today, that's what the world is needing more and more. All of you are dealing with various kinds of drugs. And there is so much of demand for these drugs because when there is a disease of the body, people require medicine, drugs to heal them. But the Bhagavad Gita is the drug for the mind. And therefore that mind which requires healing goes through this transformation. And that transformation is what we call as a healed and healthy mind. Discipline is the fusion of intention with action. And being from the land of India, we are very fortunate to be exposed to this knowledge right from time immemorial. Arjuna was in great stress and anxiety on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna, helping Arjuna understand the soul is eternal, the super soul is eternal, the relationship between the soul and the super soul is eternal. And therefore, on that basis, prayer is the immunity booster against the virus of change. All through the day we go through change, and the prayer helps us cope with that change and improve our immunity, because I realize I, as the Atma, can never change, can never die, can never be affected. And then let me look at the changes from that perspective. Therefore, we have expectations, we have reality. The gap between expectation and reality creates stress. When things don't match up as per expectations, face the reality and then have fresh expectations to continue your journey. And in this way, you will experience life which is ever new, ever fresh, full of resilience, full of joy, and full of hope. And always remember this one thing: circumstances may make you helpless, but never become hopeless. Circumstances may make you helpless, but never become loudly. Never become hopeless. Always have hope, always have joy, always have reason and purpose to live. And thus, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us purpose, habits, focus, relationships, determination, discrimination, humility, tolerance, which are essential life values, so that along with all the skill you have as part of Drug Control Officers Welfare Association, add the power of the Bhagavad Gita to have the will also. The powerful combination of skill and will make you an unbeatable champion in your life's journey. Thank you very much for inviting me this evening.
It is our extremely biggest honor. I don't think everybody knows this thing, that Gauranga sir has inspired so many lives. I would like to just share my personal experience with him. Uh, Actually, I was going through, it's a very special story that I would like to share with you and everybody over here. I was lately, I think 2 years back, I was going through some depressional things in life.